in case internet, if it drops, then that one will pick up. Just make sure it's on. I can start now, right?
Yes, sir, we are live.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Hamam Towodzwa, and I'm taking you for IT today. We are continuing with systems technologies, and we are looking at computer management with the following objectives. By the end of the lesson, the student should be able to identify factors influencing computer management. And then number 2, should also be able to recommend management tasks for general housekeeping, maintaining data integrity, and protecting the system. In this lesson, you will learn, we can say, about several different computer management tasks. These tasks include clearing up space, updating software, and increasing the capability of your computer by installing new software and hardware. You will also learn how to change the key settings of your computer. So if there are any questions as we go on, you are free to put the questions down and then we'll be able to discuss them. What is computer management? We can define it as a process of managing, monitoring, and optimizing the computer's functionality to best serve the interest of the user. So we are looking at basically 3 things: managing, monitoring, and optimizing the computer to meet the needs of the user. The process could include the following. We can say improving and maintaining the security features, that's number 1. And then number 2, performance, and then the reliability of the computer. There are at least, when we look at the factors, we are going to look at least 5 factors that might affect the computer speed. And also we can say the ease of use and security. So we are going to be looking at each and every factor. Each of these 5, we are going to look at it separately. The first one being software. How does it affect computer management? Number 2, we are going to look at security. How does security affect, that is in terms of computing? What security measures have to be taken? How do you secure your computer so that it performs to the maximum? Then number 3, housekeeping. We are going to look as well. How do you take care of the data information that is on your computer, including applications, so that your computer can perform to the maximum? Then number 4, we are also going to look at how the amount of unused space on the hard drive affect the performance of the computer. And then lastly, we are going to look at errors and corrupt files. How do corrupted files affect your computer? How do they affect the programs? Software affects a computer's performance in different ways. Number 1, installing too many applications may use up a computer's resources and cause the computer to slow down. So it's not advisable to keep on installing applications that you are not even using. So you should only have applications that you are currently using on the computer. This will also help to save storage space on the hard drive. Number 2, outdated software may contain and security problems. With outdated software, you need to always update it. How do you update? most probably the moment you connect to the internet, the computer, the operating system checks for any new updates that are suitable for the application that probably maybe you have opened and is loaded in memory. So what is an update? In this case, we can say it's a new, improved piece of software that is intended in most cases to fix the software, and then at the end, it replaces older versions of the same software. Thirdly, viruses are also a form of software and are often installed with another software within another software applications. So a virus is a program, and its intentions on the computer is to disrupt the normal functioning of the computer, to corrupt files so that they cannot open properly. The second part, second factor that influences computer management is security. And then this refers to the protection of computer systems and information from harm, theft, and unauthorized use. It is also meant to, number one, prevent any malicious software from affecting your computer. Number two, backup files so that they are safe. So we are going to look at how malicious software can be prevented from affecting your computer. And what is a firewall? This is basically a network utility that prevents unauthorized network connections to and from your computer. So this means that only the applications that you allow on your computing device can send or receive data from and to the internet or any other network. Number two, antivirus software program that is designed to prevent, search, detect, and remove malicious software, which we can term malware, from your computing device. And then also you can add spyware, anti-spyware, and then to cater with spyware, which is a piece of code that hides on your computer and tracks all your activities without your knowledge, with the intention of stealing your personal data, your credentials, your passwords. If you do online banking or e-commerce, your credit card details. That's the work of spyware. So to help with this one, you need anti-spyware. You can also control the spyware by activating the pop-up blocker on your browser settings or by installing the anti-spyware software application. These are the two ways that you can deal with spyware. Number one, pop-ups, and then number two, you can install anti-spyware software. Thirdly, hardware also is a threat to security. This is a type of malware that presents unwanted adverts to the user of a computer in the form of pop-up or an unclosable window. How does this affect? Remember, any program that is running on the computer, it takes up memory in the form of RAM. So the more the programs that are open, the more the windows that you have, the more RAM is being used. And how does it affect your computer? It ends up slowing down this operating system. And in some cases, if it has been used up, your computer tends to freeze. Under security as well, we have a problem with backups, data backup, which is a process of duplicating data and storing it in an alternative location to allow retrieval of duplicate set after a data loss event, such as and then data can also be accidentally deleted. And then we look at the causes, most causes of data loss. Number one, we have hardware failure. Number two, many potential threats to your data like viruses, trojans, don't just steal your data. In most cases, they erase it. It's not only that you lose it, but also the data is deleted from the storage. Then the threat of ransomware as well, when this is when, in the case when a hacker puts a virus on, and then in most cases, what they do is they say, okay, for you to recover your data, you need. So this is a form of threat also that can cause data loss. To backup, to make an effective backup, you need to follow certain guidelines. And then number one, the backup must include all important files and folders. So when you are backing up, you need to include all important files and folders. Number two, be run regularly, preferably every day, but at least once a week. Number three, must be saved on a different storage device from the data it is backing up. So it doesn't make sense to make a backup on a hard drive where the operating system is running. So you would rather use an external drive to make the backup, or possibly to use cloud computing. You can do backups on OneDrive, on Dropbox, on Google Drive, as long as the files and folders are saved externally. Then that would be a perfect way of saving, or maybe we can say backing up your files. It's not secure to have them on the same machine. Previously, we spoke about how data can be lost through natural disasters. If the computers are stolen and the information is backed up on that machine, it means still you won't be able to recover it. It's possible to restore the lost data. Right, then backup also should be saved on a storage device that should be kept in a safe place to from physical damage. To make sure the backup system is still working. So once files are backed up, they should be constantly checked up to make sure that files are still working. How do we create a backup? We are going to look at three main techniques that can be used to create a backup. Number one, the easiest being copy and paste. How is it done? Just to select the files and folders, and then using the copy and paste command, you can place them in an external drive. Number two, using backup and restore software, which is this type of utility. When we dealt with software, we looked at utilities, and then this is a type of utility that can be used to automatically back up your data to an external drive by simply updating changes to the relevant files that were backed up previously. So it looks at the files and then looks at what is missing, and then it simply adds that. It does not replace the whole file. So when you are backing up, it only adds what is missing. Then the thirdly, online backup using Google Drive, OneDrive, and any other cloud computing storage facility. Then the third factor that influences computer management is housekeeping. This refers to the way in which a computer and its files and folders are organized so that they are quick and easy to find. So the most important thing there is to make files organized so that they can be retrieved easily. Then the tasks include, number one, disk cleanup, which is a maintenance utility as well, designed to free up storage space on a computing device. So you can use disk cleanup. And then this identifies and removes temporary files that are no longer needed and cleans out old files, programs, and settings that cause your computer to slow down. So disk cleanup, at the end, what you are aiming at is to speed up the performance of your computer. So it identifies all the temporary files, and remember, whatever program is running, it's held temporarily in memory. If it's a document that you are working on, also it's held temporarily in memory. And these temporary files, they are stored in the temp folder or in the Windows folder, right? So with time, they build up and end up taking more and more space. So using disk cleanup utility, you are able to remove these files from the system, thereby creating more space, storage space. Number two, task scheduling, right? This one is used to create and manage common tasks that your computer will carry out automatically at a time you specify. So you might probably say, okay, I need backups to be done at midnight when you are not working, when you are not using the computer. So you can just set the time midnight. As long as the computer is on, the processes run without even affecting the way you are using your computer. And then if it's deleting temporary files, it's done during the night. And when you wake up in the morning, when you turn on, you go to your computer, everything is working perfectly well with enhanced speed and performance of the operating system. The third way is, the fourth way is archiving. This process, we can say, is a process in which data or files that are no longer actively being used are stored. We can use maybe on a DVD, on a CD, and this is most probably on a device that we can say it's read-only. Most of these files, you won't be updating them. It's just the storage purposes, to remove them from the computer because they are occupying space, and then you store them for maybe future reference. So there is a difference between the two, backup and archiving. Backup, remember, it's to add to an existing file that is constantly changing, whereas archiving is to store a file separately in a static way. The fifth way, in terms of housekeeping, is to compress and maybe we can say decompress files. How does compressing files help you? It helps to create extra storage space on the drive. So, but what is compression? What is decompression? Now, this is, we can say, it's a means in which a file size or a folder size is reduced using advanced algorithms and mathematical formulas. So mostly we have applications, or we can say utilities, that are that do the compression, and then decompression, that's restoring it to its original size so that you can use it. In terms of compression, we can speak of two types where there is, we can say, data loss. In this way, we are dealing with saving, maybe converting a type of file into a compressed version. A good example is maybe we can say photos, pictures, images, right? The raw format of an image is probably a bitmap, and then it can be compressed to a JPEG format, which is obviously smaller and occupies less space. Right, so when you compress using, that is by saving, and you are changing it to another format, right? So if there is a change of format, like for instance, from a bitmapped image to a JPEG, there is a form of data loss, or maybe in, we can say in terms of resolution is reduced as well. And then the quality of the image, if we are dealing with images, also gets bad. So this type of compression is called in fact, this type of compression, it causes a file to lose quality. Sorry, I'm having a problem with the right. Then there's a type of compression where data is not lost, which is you can use WinZip and even Windows compression. You can compress, just right click on the file or a folder, and then in Windows Explorer, and then you will be able to compress it. Then the other part in housekeeping is installing and uninstalling software. Software is not supposed, if you install a software, you are not supposed to go to the folder and delete it. Why? Because there are several files that are in different folders, and by simply deleting, these files will become redundant. They will just occupy space for nothing. So you won't be able, and you won't be able to remove it. So the best way is to use the add and remove programs. Then automatically all the files that are linked or that belong to the application are automatically removed. So there are two ways There's a custom installation which will allow you to see and select parts of the software that you want to install. So when you start to run the installation wizard, it prompts you to select what you want to install. And then there is full installation. In this case, you will be able to select all parts of the software and install it on your computing device. And when you are doing the installation, remember you enter the product key, and then once the installation is done, you have to register online, and then the product is verified and then activated. So if the product key is not correct, then you won't be able to use the software. Organizing files also forms part of housekeeping, and then this is refers to a planned system that you can use when you save your files on the computer. And mostly we can say, be it on a standalone computer or on a network drive. And then how do you organize your files? Number one, you need to decide on a logical folder structure that can be used to organize your files and a naming convention. Files and folders need to be named properly with names that will help when you are searching for the files. Number two, you need to move existing files and folders to the appropriate location within the folder structure. And then thirdly, save any new files in the appropriate location within the folder structure. And then fourthly, occasionally, you need to check the hard drive to ensure that the new files have not become disorganized. Then factor number 4 that affects, that influence the, we can say, management of a computer is related to the amount of unused space on the hard drive. Computers need sufficient unused space in order to operate smoothly. Free space on the drive, we can say, why is it required? It's required because there are certain, most maybe programs or applications, like we said earlier, they create temporary files while it's in use, and the computer system requires hard disk space to supplement RAM in the form of virtual memory. So part of the hard drive, it could be, let's say, for instance, if your hard drive is 100 gig, maybe 5 gig might be reserved for virtual RAM. So if there are lots and lots of programs that are open, and maybe possibly RAM has been used up, the computer now will use that part of the hard drive as RAM to store temporarily programs or applications that are running. So to free up space on the drive, there are a few things that needs to be done. You need to use the disk cleanup tool so that it can remove all the temporary files and any other files that are not being used. And then number 2, to uninstall unused software so that you can create free disk space. Number 3, you need to empty the recycle bin constantly. Number 4, you need to compress data that is not being frequently used. Remember, if you compress, for you to reuse that data, you need to decompress it. Then lastly, on the factors, there is errors that appear on applications, and then also corrupt files. It could be Word documents that cannot open. It could be any other, it could be maybe a video that is corrupted and cannot open. And then sometimes these corrupted files, if they are for a particular, maybe specific application, the application might fail to run. So regular scanning for files with errors or corrupt files needs to be done with an appropriate utility software, such as, for instance, Smart Scan, Disk Check. And then these applications, what they do is they warn you before errors become a problem. So they will warn you that there is a file that is missing. And also, if you are dealing with maybe for drivers as well, because it's software, if there is a driver that is missing, also these special utility softwares, they will be able to detect it and then warn you in advance before the device malfunctions. Right, we look at the activity that is 5.1 to just recap what we have been discussing. And there is question 1 for consolidation. And then I can see there is Oriel. If you can get the answer, you can just type the letter, either it's A, B, or C, or D up to J. So the first one, the most important task that you must do, what is it? The most important software task that you must do. Which is the correct answer? B, it's what? Back up the data. The most important software, now we are dealing with software, not data, software task that you must do. Oh, so, okay, D, that's perfect. D, so you need to regularly update your software. And then number 2, prevent any malicious software from affecting your computer by using antivirus software and backup your files so that they are safe, even if your computer is damaged in some way. This refers to what? What does it refer to? Let's just check. So this is, let's see. Prevent any malicious software, which what factor, what does this affect on the computer? Malicious and software, malware, and what does it affect? Right, if you check there, when we're looking at the factors that affect, exactly, it's H, which is computer security. Yep. Right, and then number 3, this can be done to prevent your computer to overheat and either crash your computer or limit the speed of your computer. What is it? For number 3, this can be done to prevent your computer to overheat. Remember, if your hard drive, maybe we can say storage device, is getting full, it means the CPU will have to work hard, maybe to try to retrieve or to process whatever data is in memory. And maybe we can say there is, we can also maybe cite that there is a little available space, empty space on the disk, such that it affects virtual memory. So let's see, if we say disk cleanup tool, it cleans, yeah, it works disk cleanup as well as physically clean the computer. There are 2, that is E and J. E and J can work there. Right, then number 4, this is the single best way to protect your data. How do you protect your data? Then how do you protect? Let's see. Yeah, that's B, correct. Then number 5, this should be used to set the location where your documents, images, and media files are saved. Number 5, what could it be? This could be used to set the location where your documents, images, and media files are stored. Number 5, what could that be? Let's see. File organization, yeah, it's correct. This is one of the biggest reasons why computers slow down as they get older. Number 6, what could be the answer? As they get older. Not only as they get older, we can say this is probably one of the biggest reasons why computers slow down. We can remove the part as they get older, right? They become infected with viruses and malware. That's correct. Because remember, viruses, there are some types of virus that replicate files on the computer. They duplicate the files. And then let's say probably maybe if you had 50 gig, if that 50 gig is duplicated, then we have 100 gig. And then of that 100, 50 is useless. So viruses, malware, they do that. So we move on to number 7. This space can be used as the page file to save new files or to create temporary files required by the application. What part of this one? Page file. So this is number 7. What could be the answer there? What could be the answer for number 7? This space can be used as the page file, right? By a page file also, we are referring to the virtual memory part. So which part of the hard drive can be used for that? There's a B, let's see, pick up, is it B or C? It should be C. Remember, the computer, the operating systems uses the free disk space to create virtual memory, right? So this must be C, right? To ensure that your hard drive does, okay, good, yeah, there. Your hard drive does not fail. It is important that you regularly check the health of your hard drives by running a dash and disk check on it. What do you run on the hard drive? That's number 8. What do you run there? What do you run? I think I mentioned were there 2 utilities? Yes, that's a smart scan. That's perfect. And then number 9, together, these 2 tests should inform you if your hard drives have an issue, right? That's number 9. What is it? The one that you use to check if there are issues on your hard drive. What do you use? To check if there are issues on the hard drive? G, perfect. That's excellent. Oh, sorry, I clicked this one. G, that's excellent. And then lastly, there is to clean up a disk, you can use this technique. What is used to clean up a disk? In fact, from this one to clean up a disk, you're saying disk cleanup too, exactly. And also, yeah, but file, we cannot say file organization is part of housekeeping as well, but you cannot use it to, you can use it to clean up a disk. Yeah, that's to organize the files as well. So we can say also I can also be an answer there. Right, and then let's see this one quickly. Choose the answer and write true or false next to the question. And then this one says, correct the statement if it is false. That's where the trick is. So if it is false, you need to correct it, possibly by changing one word. Right, so let's see. A, to make sure that your computer is protected against viruses, you should install more than one virus scanner. Is that true or false? For true, just write T. For false, just write F. And then what should we change? These are the type of questions that we have in the exams. If the answer is false, then you need to change one word, only one word. That's normally the instruction. False, you can update your existing the statement as it is, and then we have to change only one word. So it says to make sure that your computer is protected against viruses, right? In some cases, the word is highlighted, but in some cases, like in this way, the word is not highlighted. So you just have to look closely or that you can add to make it true. Protected against viruses, you should, let's see, the answer is true. No, it's false, it's correct. The first part is you should not, so you need to add that word there. You should not install more than one virus scanner. So that's the word that we have to add. You should not. So it's either you are adding one word or you are changing a word to make it true, right? And then the two biggest ways to pick up malware is by installing applications without reading all the instructions carefully and by inserting other people's flash disk into your computer. Is this true or false? True. This one is false as well. Let's see. So the biggest two ways we can say to pick up malware is by downloading unreliable applications without reading all the instructions carefully and by inserting other people's disks into your computer. Let's see. The two biggest ways to pick up. Okay, this is true. Okay. It's true. Yeah, that's true. Right. So it's correct. You are correct. True. And then let's say case C. You should clean your computer more regularly during the rain season as they become especially dirty during this period. Is it true or false? Yeah, it's false. So you should clean your computer once a week to check for viruses. You shouldn't wait for the rain season. And then looking at our time, we can say D is false. And then, D is true. And then we have E, which is true. Right. So you can complete these tasks, that's consolidation, on page 6-9. And then tomorrow when we meet again, you can, if you have any questions, you are free to ask. Then for tomorrow, we are looking at computer crime and criminals, and then types of cyber crime, effect of cyber crimes, and then how do you safeguard against computer crime threats and computer criminals? There is cyber terrorism these days. How do you safeguard against it? So that is what we will be looking at tomorrow. And then today we used the Siavla ebook and the Start Opportunities IT is Great grade 12 book. So we meet again tomorrow and then we look at cyber crime and how to safeguard against it. This brings us to the end of the lesson. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. Okay, thanks, Oriel. We meet again tomorrow.